What's up guys, welcome back to another video on Pure Panorama. In this video we are going to jump right into changing the differential fluid on the rear diff of my 2001 24 valve Cummins. We finally got the rear differential opened up. I had some time today on Sunday, my day off. Was supposed to work today, but we ended up getting things done yesterday, so I lucked out and had today to kind of give this another go. We did attempt this a little while back, but I just could not get anything in between the diff cover and the differential so that I could break it free and pop that seal to get it drained. Well, today we actually busted out our little 5-in-1 paint scraper tool here, which I ended up finding. I've been looking for this thing for quite some time now. I knew I had one around, so that's why I didn't just go out and buy another one, even though they're a couple bucks. So we ended up finding that, and I just literally started to give it a little tap and worked my way around, and she got in there pretty quick. I've only been on this now for about 10 minutes, and we got her all opened up, drained, and we're gonna spray it with some brake clean, get it all cleaned up, get all this gunk out of there. Then we'll go ahead and clean the actual diff cover here. You can see it does have a magnet right there in it, and the magnet has some crap stuck to it. So I don't know when the last time this thing was changed was, but it definitely needs it, and it's getting it now. So that we'll get that all cleaned up. Hopefully that little bit of gunk on there is just a sign of this differential not being opened up in a long time. The gears look to be good. It doesn't look like there's any teeth that are chipped or busted or anything like that. So everything appears to be in good shape. It's just pretty dirty. So I think we are in good condition as far as all of that stuff goes. So now it's just a matter of getting it cleaned up. Like I said, you can see some of the oil still draining out. It does still have a brownish color to it, so that's not bad. It's not totally all burnt and stuff. It's just old and used, which is why it still has that dark color to it. But that's still not as bad as I thought it was gonna be. I figured that it would be extremely dark, just black, all burnt to hell, and just not good looking once I got this opened. I was pretty concerned about it, and I'm pretty pumped up to see that we are in this good a condition back here in this rear diff. So the next one, we will be cracking that front differential open and getting the same thing done. But for now, let's go ahead and shoot this thing out with some good old CRC brake clean, which I only have about a half can left. So there's a closer look at the magnet. You can see a little bit of crud that's stuck to it. Got a little bit of stuff stuck right down in here in those little corners, those little crevices there, and a little bit on that outer edge there. but we're gonna get it all cleaned up right now. Spray it all out with some brake clean, get all of this crap scraped off, get this surface all cleaned up so that we can stick this thing back on and refill it. Look at that sweet reflection though. That's a pretty dope shot, son. What a difference that is, ladies and gentlemen. Look at the difference in that diff cover. Got the magnet all cleaned up. Everything is looking much better than it did originally. There's still slightly just like a, I guess I'd call it like a light film of RTV that is stuck to this. You're not gonna, unless you want to spend an hour or more scraping and trying to clean this without gouging it to try and get every little bit off there. The main thing you're looking for is to basically have it cleaned down to the point where it is flat and can sit flush around the actual differential housing. So we are in good shape as far as that goes, and we're gonna get this thing reinstalled now so that we can go ahead, fill her up. The gear oil I use is the Lucas Synthetic 7590. That's typically what I run in any of my trucks, so that's what we're gonna be putting into this one. No different than any other truck of mine, and I think it's time to go ahead and put her back together. Yeah, boys, we are all buttoned back up. You can see we got our RTV splooging out the edges there, so we're good to go. Got these tightened back down by hand. I didn't put a torque wrench on them. As long as you don't go crazy, and remember that these aren't lug nuts or anything, you can tighten them down, but you do need to be careful because you can snap them off very easily into the diff housing. So you don't want to do that. Just take your time, gently tighten them down, get them snugged up. If you take them off by hand and not use an impact, you'll have an idea or a feel for how tight they originally were. So you can kind of go by that feel when you tighten them back down. Or you can go bust out a torque wrench and do it that way. But I didn't feel it necessary to do that. I'm going to let this stuff sit and dry up and cure for about 30-45 minutes, and then we'll go ahead and fill her up and be done with it. Okay, so now that we have that all put back together, we're going to let it, like I said, we're going to let it dry for like 30-45 minutes or so, and then I'll touch the outside here to make sure it's setting up. Then we're going to go ahead, fill her up with the 7590. I am going to fill it and just keep checking it with my finger until it's about a ½ inch below that fill hole that is on the diff cover. Typically what I do when I'm filling it up is I use my finger as more or less a gauge to measure. And how I do that is I stick my finger into the fill hole and I'll stick it down into the differential until this first knuckle here is at the bottom of the fill hole. And if my fingertip is starting to touch and get into the gear oil, then I cut it off there, and I'll use that as my kind of like my guide, my gauge to know that my diff is filled up to where it needs to be. That's what I do. I've found that always works for me, and things have been fine doing it that way. I've never had any issues, so I will continue to do it that way. I don't know how you guys fill your diffs. Feel free to tell me in the comment section and share that information with everybody here on the channel, because everybody has different ways of doing stuff. That is what the channel is for. It's for helping people out. So we're all here to learn different techniques, different methods of doing different things on our trucks. So share what you do when you fill your differentials down there in the comment section. All right, so my RTV gasket maker has been drying now for a little over an hour. The instructions on the back of the gasket maker tube say to finger tighten the bolts until the gasket maker starts to ooze out the side of the flange, and then to go ahead and let it dry for about an hour or so, and then torque your bolts down to spec. Well, I didn't do that. I just went right ahead, torqued them down because I want it to just dry and cure up. I'm sure they tell you to do that so that it will somewhat set up a little bit and create more of a beaded style gasket around there, and then it'll make it a little bit easier for you to get the diff cover off. But I didn't do that. I want that shit to be just smeared right in there and dry throughout all that surface, that on that mating surface. So I tightened that sucker right down and let it sit now for a little over an hour. They say to let it go for about 24 hours before refilling it, but I'm going to let it go a little bit longer and get this thing filled up. I need the truck obviously for work in the morning, and I don't have 24 hours to let it cure. So I will be able to tell basically about how dry it is and how cure it is by touching that little bit that's oozed out on the sides, and then I will make the decision to fill it up here pretty soon. That is basically going to do it for this one though, guys. I don't need to show you guys how to fill up the rear diff. You guys already know how to do that stuff, and I've explained how I do it and told you to let everyone know in the comment section how you fill your differential up. So I'm going to wrap this one up here and wait for that to finish getting to a good point to where I feel like I can fill the differential, and then call it a night. As always, hit that like button on your way out. Leaving a like on the video really helps them out, getting them recommended to new people, new family members. Hopefully we can get here on the channel by getting the videos recommended out there to other folks. If you are new here, just stopping in for the first time because a video was recommended to you and you decided to click on it and see what it was all about, then go ahead and just hit that subscribe button, join the family, and I will see you guys in the next video tomorrow with something new. I don't know, we'll figure it out. All right, time to go. Peace. I just wanna keep